Hey, welcome to iHeart Intellectual Radio Black Conservative Podcast. I am your host, Alan J. Campbell, here in the city of Gotham. Hey, okay, so let's just get right into it. I got a couple of things that I want to get right into. Okay, so first and foremost, what I'm not going to do, which is I'm not surprised, I'm not going to get into the 23rd. And this is just let me see if that's correct. We had another mass shooting. Once again, another mass shooting. And the killing part that this was a bank employee. Well, you called that one. You called it. Now, just for those who were, if you're just tuning in and you didn't catch us last week, this is what Earl said. Earl said that there is going to be another mass shooting, and sure enough, lo and behold, 10 out to a bag of shit. He said he called that, and here we go again. But what up? Refresh my memory. What did Trump say? It's gonna be mass destruction. Okay. Death and destruction. Death and destruction. So here we are once again with this. Okay, here we are again. But I'm not. You know what? Once again, you may call me. You may say I may not have any. I may lack empathy. I may lack understanding. No, it's not that. I just am not surprised, because guess what? In a month for it, who's to say a week from now, who's to say a month from now that we're going to have what? Another mass shooting. Okay. And the killing part about today's shooting at this bank, this was a bank employee. Okay. So you all can follow up on that if you like. I'm going to do my research and get more information on that. Now, let's get into this. 3 topics I'm gonna get into tonight. The first one is that here in the city of Chicago, the heated and contested mayoral race between Paul Vallis and Brandon Johnson is finally over. And as you all may or may know, that Brandon Johnson came out on top. He won the election, so he is now considered the mayor-elect. Now, I'm gonna be totally honest. I was myself. I was surprised. I really was. I really was surprised. Then that's only because he did not have the backing of the FOP and certain other unions, but he had the backing of the teachers union. So it's kind of in the rumor mill right now. We all know what rumors lead to. Are they saying that the CTU, or the Chicago Teachers Union, is now the new political machine of getting individuals elected to the 5th floor of City Hall? That is, that's something really to think about, is the Teachers Union. But and when we talk about the Teachers Union, we have to also address the fact of being progressive and aggressive when we're talking about teaching our children. And that's another topic for another show, but I'm gonna stick to Brandon Johnson. Now, he, shortly after that, he met with Lori Lightfoot, the outgoing mayor. They understand they met for about 90 minutes. He met with the governor. They had some good conversation from all indication. The biggest thing about individuals that are coming in, and especially this is the first time, can they deliver on their on quote unquote their campaign promises? And see, I have a problem with a person making campaign promises. They're easily said, but they're also easily broken. Okay. Me, if I'm running for whatever office, I'm not making any promises. I'm going to tell you that I'm going to do my best to try to push this through or get it done, or whatever the case may be. Even as far as going as giving you my word. But I'm not going to make a promise to you, because there are a lot of variables, a lot of unknowns. Okay, he's coming in, and this is a guy that's going to oversee a $800 million city budget 30,000 city employees and then some. So that is a monumental task. He's talking about health, talking about mental health. Now, here's the thing about this. Everybody, this was one of the things that a lot of politicians right now going around spewing out of their mouths is mental health, mental health, mental health, mental health. First and foremost, we have to look at, if you're going to talk about that, they have to look at the pool of mental health facilities and mental health doctors, or they have to look at that. How many do we have? Are they qualified? How do we determine that this person is just not is just playing the game to get a crazy check, or this person is absolutely off their rocker, so give them the crazy check? It's a very thin line. When Brandon Johnson talked about creating an avenue in the police department for mental health crisis or mental health crisis officer, here's the thing, and I said this last week prior to him winning. First and foremost, you have to ascertain that the person that the police are going to assist or look into, or whatever the job may be, that this person is in need of mental health, or what they call a EMD, or for that's just basically emotionally EMP rather, EDP. I'm sorry, EDP, emotionally disturbed person. How is a police officer able to ascertain that this person has flipped their lid? They're in the middle of the street losing their shit. How is he supposed to determine that? He's not trained for that. He is trained in the areas of protection, serve, and protect. Okay. So, and even to a point of problem solving, quelling a disturbance. They are not mental health workers. And that's going to be a hard sell for Brandon. Hard sell. Okay. And not only that, but where are you going to get the money? Where you are going to get the money? The next thing he's going to deal with is right now he's tasked with naming a superintendent for the Chicago Police Department, because David Brown stepped down last month, and so now we have an interim superintendent who's running the show right now. Now, my opinion, and let's be clear. An opinion doesn't have to be law, but my opinion is that if he is going to find a superintendent or pick one, I think the superintendent should come from within the ranks, because you almost to a degree, you bring someone from the outside who does not know the department, does not know the city, does not know certain aspects of policing a metropolis of this size and dealing with the rank and file, looking at what he has and don't have, looking at his resources. I honestly think that he should look from within the department, finding someone who is more than capable, but also knows the hills and valleys of the Chicago Police Department. Also, bringing in someone who can deal with the rising and unbelievably, and this is something else that Brandon Johnson is going to have to deal with when he brings in a superintendent, dealing with the rising suicide rates among police officers in the Chicago Police Department. Suicide. This is something that has to be actively addressed. This is what happens when you putting people on a 30-day stretch with no break. You're going to burn them out, or as they were doing, they were canceling all off. They were canceling all off days, and these guys were working 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, sometimes 20 days straight, and working 12 hours, sometimes 15 hours. That will burn anybody out quick, fast, in a hurry, because the department is undermanned, it's understaffed, it's underfunded. This is the problem. So Brandon Johnson truly has his work cut out for him. Truly has his work cut out for him. The next thing that he's going to have to do, also when he's dealing with the police department, he is going to he's going to have to sit down with both the police department and the Secretary of State. I'm not Secretary of State. Check that. The state's attorneys. Here's the other problem. This is another problem that Brandon Johnson is going to be faced, that the broken marriage between the Chicago Police Department and the Cook County State's Attorney's Office, namely, Kim, hurry up and get out of office, Fox, because it's a complete disaster in the State's Attorney's Office, a complete disaster. This is the Hindenburg, the Titanic, and any other horrific crash, all wrapped into one, and she's been in the seat for all of them. This is another problem. When you decide, and this is the problem, and I said this once before, this is the problem that you are going to have. I said this early on. She's never been in a position. When you are prosecuting, she spent her entire career, or she made her career in the juvenile the juvenile system, juvenile criminal system. Okay, and it's different opposed, and it's crimes of charging an individual. Charging a juvenile is completely different than charging an adult. Completely different. She has no expertise. She had no expertise, no skill, no training, no tutoring, no nothing. And crime has gone through the roof under her leadership. You've had mass defections of state's attorneys and public defenders who have resigned. In fact, one attorney named Jack Murphy, who's been with the state's attorney's office 30 years, resigned because he could no longer work under the current leadership. Now, when you have a person that decides to quit after 30 years based on leadership, there's something really, really going on. Now, her response is, well, we've hired on another 20 to help to kind of offset what we're losing. Yeah, that's a problem, because then you're bringing in some new kids who have no expertise, no skill, nothing, and how to properly prosecute, or do they even understand how this works? This is going to be a massive job for Brandon, and working with the police department and said having these two parties sit down and bridging the gap, or fixing this broken marriage, because you can't have one without the other. The other thing is is like anything, or what we all say, can he deliver? Can he deliver? Is he going to backtrack on the things that he said in the campaign? Is he going to make good on the things that he said in the campaign? That is the biggest question. Now, I'm all for giving anybody an opportunity. Everybody deserves a chance, sometimes even a second chance. Give them the opportunity to see what happens. Because guess what? If he doesn't achieve it, or he underperforms, guess what? He's gonna be out the door swiftly, just like Lori Lightfoot. And Lori Lightfoot is the first sitting mayor to not win re-election in 34 years. That's unheard. It's beyond shocking. But this is what it looks like when you underscore a lot of things. And she had a lot of good ideas when she came in, but then she got sidetracked. And that's the unfortunate thing about politicians when they get in. They're easily sidetracked. If you're going into this, stick to what you say, stick to what you know, and keep pushing. This job, being a mayor, it's going to have its blowback. It's going to have some pushback. It's going to have its arguments. It's going to have what it's going to have. Also, the fact that the city council has basically turned over. I mean, there are at least 32 to 35 new faces out of 50. Out of 50, the 50 wards, there's at least 35 new people that are coming in. First time people. So, and to a degree, this is the same thing for Brandon Johnson, and sometimes new blood is needed. It is needed. Sometimes a fresh idea, as they say, a second set of eyes always does the trick. Always. So, hey, let's get this dude a chance. See what he does, see how he goes. And you know what? We just have to, like anything, we just have to wait and see. We just have to wait and see how this is going to go. Basically, that's truly how this is. Truly, truly, truly how this is going to unfold. So, it's going to be, and make no mistake, it is definitely going to be interesting. Definitely interesting on what happens. Okay, so now the swearing in for all new officials, including the mayor, will be May 15th. So right now they say they're getting their ducks in a row and crossing the T's and dotting the I's, getting all of that together. Now, moving on to another topic that a lot of you like and some of you kind of give me grief over. Let's talk about Donald Trump. Okay. So last week, the Don, because get this, they're not calling, in his private circles, they're not calling him Donald Trump. They are calling him the Don. Believe it or not, they are calling him the Don. Okay. So last week, Donald Trump was indicted on several counts. Basically, 34 counts, and from the and the killing part, all of them are felonies. Okay, let's get into that. Okay, let's get in that. So, and by the way, the phone lines are open relatively early. So if you have a comment talking about Donald Trump and his indictment, give me a call here at the studio at 708-223-8953. That's 708-223-8953. Okay, so we're talking about Donald Trump. So he was indicted, and so last Tuesday, Donald Trump made his trip. Last Wednesday. So Donald Trump, check this guy out. This is what I say. This is a boss. This is this dude is too cool for school. So this is what he does. This guy gets up, boards his plane. Now his personal plane is about the same, is roughly the same size as the president's plane, Air Force One. Okay. Now, not to mention that he is a former president, and he is entitled, for lack of a better word. He is entitled. He receives, I should say. Let me rephrase that. He receives Secret Service protection. Okay. All former presidents get that. Obama still had Secret Service protection, George Bush, and now Donald Trump. They all have Secret Service, and most of them, and some of them have Secret Service for the rest of their life. They're former presidents. Now, this dude gets up Tuesday morning, boards his plane, flies to New York, goes down to Lower Manhattan, where that's basically the criminal courts district. He goes in. He's got his lawyers, his entourage. He comes in. He hears he hears the court proffer read off the charges. He hears the prosecutor read off the charges. They go through the whole shebang and ask Donald Trump how does he plead. He says, "I'm not guilty," but pled not guilty to all counts. Okay. And he sat there and he had this look, and it wasn't the fact that it didn't even look like he was mean mugging. It was just a look of a cockiness, confidence, if you want to say, because that's the look he had. Then this dude, not only that, but he was taken into custody, booked, fingerprinted, picture ID, and guess what? Then released on his own recognizance. This dude got back on his personal plane and left to go back to Florida. This dude made it back to Florida before the district attorney got through making her statement. I mean, you don't get how boss is that? How boss is that? This dude got out there. He said, "You know what? I'll see you in December," because he goes back to court December 4th. I was like, okay, but here's the thing about that. They're talking about something he did in 2016. He paid off that hooker Stormy Daniels, and here's the killing part. Stormy Daniels took the money. She didn't turn it over. She didn't give it back. She didn't do anything, but she took the money. And here's the funny part. Majority of everyone that Stormy Daniels has been involved or come in contact with have been involved, such as the lawyer that she had. By the way, that guy's doing 10 years for bank fraud. Not only that, but he was the go-between. This dude was a go-between, alleged go-between between Donald Trump, whoever, and another bag man, to the lawyer to give to Stormy Daniels. Okay, let's be clear. Stormy Daniels is an adult. She's an adult movie star. Excuse me. She is an adult film movie star. Okay. She gets paid. She gets paid to show her ass. She gets paid to perform sexual acts on film. She gets paid to do that. Okay. I'm trying to bridge that gap. I really, really am. Okay, you're talking almost 7. This happened 7. So you're indicting him, and so the other part was they want to indict him on his questionable business practice. Okay, that's been done for the ages, and a lot of things that he's done, according to what they're saying and according to what he's saying, everything he did was pretty much legal because he's using tax codes. He's using all of the little loopholes, all of the gateways that any number of us that could use if we knew about it, or if we read and understood it. We could be doing the same thing. People are talking about, well, this is what happened. Okay, well, Donald Trump got property, and then he filed bankruptcy 7 times. Listen, let me explain to you how that works. You go, say, for example, you go and buy a car. You make a few payments, and then guess what? Then you go and you file bankruptcy. Guess what? You get to keep the car. Then when Yes, you do? Yeah. What? When you file bankruptcy? No. No, I know somebody that did that, and they were able to keep their car.
If you buy a car, you owe $18,000 on that car. You pay, let's say,
Yep.
If you buy a car, you owe, let's say, 18 grand on the car. And you pay, let's say, 6 car notes, and then you file bankruptcy. You have to give them that car back.
Well, if you're still within a year, because I know some people that kept their car. Yeah.
A car is different from a house. If you're in a house and you file bankruptcy.
Oh yeah. Now property, yeah, you get to keep that because it's not going anywhere.
You got to get that car back. Google it. I'm telling you right now. I've been through that. You have to give that car back.
Okay. The reason why I said it because I know a woman that did that.
Now what happened is, let's say for instance you had a car repoed. Now the car repoed.
Well, if you get it repoed, then
you owe money and you file bankruptcy, you won't owe anymore.
Right.
But you can't keep a car. If that was the case, everybody would do that. Everybody would do it every day.
Oh, I'm just listen. I'm just telling you. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you from what I know.
Right now, you are 100% incorrect when it comes to that.
But I'm basing it off on what was told to me, and I'm like, you're able to do that. But what Donald Trump did was he had property, filed bankruptcy, and he kept it. He paid and see, when you go into bankruptcy, you're basically paying one gigantic fee, and that money is dispersed throughout to your creditors or people that you owe. And then when you pay, when it's what they say was paid off or is discharged, then you're forgiven now. But you're still kind of in the red for a couple of years. You're not going to be you won't be able to get a few things, and that's going to happen. But this is what this guy did, and all he did was use the tax laws that any of us could use. That's all he did. That's how he did it. When he ran for president, and Hillary Clinton, they were in a debate, and Hillary Clinton said, "Well, you didn't pay your fair share of taxes, and this, that, and the other, and blah blah blah." And then he responded by saying, "That's not true. I paid what I was supposed to pay. I just used the same tax codes that you and your friends use." That's exactly what he told her. I used the same tax codes and laws that you and your friends use. She was stuck. Absolutely stuck. See, even John Q citizens, such as myself, such as Earl, such as any of us listening to this show, if we understood the tax laws, tax codes, you will see how corporate America, how they do that, how they go about it.
It says you can keep your car as long as you keep making the payments.
Okay, so right.
Google it. As long as you
right. That's
file bankruptcy, you can keep your car as long as you keep making payments.
Right. Now, if you miss a payment, then that's another story.
They can take your car.
That's right. That's what I was saying, because the bankruptcy allows you to keep certain property as long as you're making the payments. It's basically a show of good faith what they're doing. We're gonna create this little buffer for you. We want you to make these payments, and sometimes these payments could be as low as $200, and sometimes they could be as high as $500-$600, depending on the amount that you owe and your income. A lot of this is based on your income.
Read this for you. Says many people are under the mistaken belief that filing bankruptcy allows you to wipe out a loan and keep the vehicle free and clear of any.
Right, it doesn't.
Payments. It's just not true.
Right. Now that is true. It doesn't. And see, we have to understand certain parts of bankruptcy does not wipe, especially car loans. It doesn't wipe it out. You're stuck with that. You just have to. You're just restructuring your payment schedule.
Mostly, what bankruptcy is for, in my opinion, is for to wipe out debt. Like if you have like some incredible credit card debt,
and even medical.
I had like $10,000 in credit card debt, and I filed bankruptcy, wiped it all out.
And see, and that's a good thing, because it gives a person a fresh start, especially people like us, because we're as I say, we're John Q citizens, and some of us need it, and it's helpful, very, 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 very helpful, very. So this is going to be an interesting turn of events concerning Donald Trump. Now I'm gonna tell you, again, like I said all the time, I am a gambling man. I'm a gambler. I like taking chances. I like the risk. Because as they say, no risk, no reward. And
can I just say one thing? I know you're a Trump fan. I'm not a Trump fan. But I think The most ridiculous thing in the world to me is for a poor person, average person is poor or middle class, to give money to someone who has a freaking private airplane.
Oh, I mean, now that I agree.
You
now,
can't be that cannot you cannot be more of an idiot that you live in check to check, most likely, and you're gonna donate to someone who has a private airplane.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. Now that's you know,
But there's a good
I have to
chance
agree. You know, that's the part that's just.
your donations are pretty much just paying for gas for his plane. Now they said that Trump he was able to get like $5 million because of this indictment, which is crazy as hell. And poor people, none of them folks have private planes.
Well, you know, and you have a point, but they made a decision. He didn't put a gun to their head. They made a decision to give this man money, and they did, and he accepted it. He ain't gonna turn, like I said, he's the kind of person, he ain't gonna turn nothing down but his collar. Nothing. And that's, and Earl raised a very good point. See, that's the part where you have to use some type of common sense. Common sense. You have to, when you're donating, make it make sense, people. When you're making donations to, political donations, make it make sense. Okay, this is a guy, once again, and he's a good point. Here's a guy that's got a private aircraft, a private airplane. Okay, private, and people who
ain't no small plane, like you said. What is it, a 747?
Yeah, well, it's more of a 7. It's more of a 777. So it's about the size of Air Force One. And that's it. The thing about it, that's his personal plane.
Personal plane. Yeah, he needs donations.
Personal plane. Hey, more. You know what? More power to him. Hey, if you make a decision, you have to live with that decision. Good, bad, right, or wrong. If you make a decision, if you felt that that's what you needed to do or had to do, you stand by it. Some people are actually doing that, standing by it. Now, this is a guy also. He's got a team of lawyers. He had 4 lawyers sitting at the table. 4 lawyers sitting at the table. Okay. This is a guy, and I can say I'm a gambler. This dude is never going to see he's never going to see the inside of a jail cell. And then not only that, but here's the other thing. This may not even go to trial. They may come to some type of understanding, a huge fine. It's just something and this is, and also too, what's really bad is that the current district attorney for New York, for Manhattan, where this is being held, she made a statement while she was on the campaign trail, and that may hurt her. That may hurt the case too. She made a statement. She made a comment stating, if she's elected, now understand something. Look this up. I tell you all the time, fact check, even fact check what I'm telling you, because that's what I do. When she made this comment that she was going to go after Trump, that if I'm elected, I am going to indict him. I am going to charge him. When you make comments like that, you're making it personal. The best thing she could have done was kept her mouth shut and then went after him. Don't make it personal, because then it looks really, really bad from that perspective. And now that they got the indictment, and she spent the last year and a half putting all of this together, which is asinine. You're using taxpayer money to fund this grand jury, which was an absolute joke. The hard part is that and make no mistake, his lawyers are going to request a jury trial. The hard part is getting people seated who can be objective, because this is Donald Trump. That's going to be the hard part. Not only that, but this, like I said, may not even this. I don't see this going to trial. Not to say that it won't, but if it does, this is not going to go. This is subject to go to trial, probably probably around the time that the Republican National Convention will be taking place. Now, the whole idea was to, if you can get this guy or smear him or get him in court and maybe even try and convict him, this will hurt his chances. Not going to happen, because his attorneys will ask for continuance, which the defense is allowed. As many they're allowed to ask for continuances. Hey, we still need this, we need that. We're trying to get these people, blah 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 blah. This is going to be real interesting, really interesting. But make no mistake, this guy's not going to jail. Not. And here's the other part. Here's the real spooky part about this thing. When I say spooky, this guy, okay, he's being very, and naturally he's got to be very, very quiet. Has to be quiet. But at the same time, that there's some people that are very, very nervous right now, because Trump is the kind of person. Well, first of all, like I said, Trump knows where all the bodies are buried. That's number one. He knows where all the bodies are buried. He's got the dirt on a lot of people, particularly the Clintons, particularly the Bushes, particularly certain other named and unnamed individuals. He knows where all the bodies are buried. And the other thing is that nothing can happen to this guy. Otherwise, this in itself will prove will prove everything that anyone's ever said. It will also give the conspiracy theorists everything they need. Everything. This is a guy that all he needs to do is, and not to mention, Trump, he's got a sister that's a federal judge. So don't think that that people can't, that certain things won't come out, because if it does go to trial, really watch the fireworks. Watch the fireworks, because people and especially people like Stormy Daniels, and the people around her, all of this dirt is going to come out. All of it. He's like he would be more like a Catholic priest when you go and you go into confession. Well, he's listening to everything you tell him, and not only that, but is being recorded. So in the event that you really screw up, or you happen to be the guy that gets caught with a dead girl or a live boy, gotcha. Gotcha. So now you're going to do my dance. You're going to dance for me. And this is the realm this is the political realm that exists. And this is not just with Donald Trump. This was with the Clintons. This was with with the Nixons. This was with the Kennedys. This was with going back through history, somebody had something on somebody. Going back as far as Rome, when Rome first became a municipality, everybody had dirt on somebody. And there's an old saying too, and I found that to be true. Everybody, you got to have a little dirt. You got to have a little dirt on you for people to trust you. And I found that to be very, very true. I know some of you are kind of looking perplexed and like, what, a little dirt? Yeah. I want you to think about that for a minute. Think about that. You have to have a little dirt on you for people to trust you. A little. Okay. That's the thing. Think about that. Now, another, now I'm going, switching gears. Have any of you all seen the Netflix comedy special, I Am Monique? Okay, and everybody knows Monique, okay. But I've got to watch that, and it was hilarious. But it was a lot of things she was saying. I don't know. Earlier, have you seen that? Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's called My Name's Monique, and it's a lot of things that she said in there in her show that were they were funny but true. Funny but true. She talked about the situation, how she was, how she was black, and how she was blackballed in Hollywood. And the thing about that, she was blackballed by other black producers and directors, other celebrities. That's the part that when that hurt her the most. That really hurt her the most. And there was a clip, when I heard about it, and then I looked at the press junket, and there was a clip of her, and I say, look this up. This is where her and Steve Harvey kind of got into it on Steve's show, and she called Steve Harvey out on a lot of things that Steve did, and she told Steve, the fact that her and Steve came up together through the comedy circuit. And Steve went on to say, he said, well, because the biggest thing, the riff was this, the understanding. Now it's not law, it's not written. This is a choice. The understanding is that when there's, around Oscar buzz, you're supposed to make the circuit, okay, Monique was up for an Oscar for her role in Precious, okay, blah, blah, blah. And people wanted her to make the circuit, go to different functions, this. Monique said, I'm not doing that. That's not who I am. I'm not going to be going to these places and kissing people's ass, glad hand. And, no, I'm not going to do that. And so it was a point to where her and Lee Daniels had a riff about that. And there was some things that she told Lee Daniels. And from then on, it just went. And then the show that she was originally slated to work on, she was fired from. But it's the Lee Daniels show. And then she won. And then after Monique won the Academy Award, she was shut out from Hollywood. Monique hadn't done a project for almost 10 years. She was shut out. And she, and going back to the conversation between her and Steve, and she called him out and she told him the biggest thing that hurt me is that you didn't stand by me. And the fact that you said, since she was talking to Steve, that she told Steve that it was some things that you said that was hurtful. And I thought better of you. And then Steve responded by saying, well, Monique, it wasn't that, everything you said and did was right. You were right about this. We never said you were wrong. She said, but you all didn't stand by me either. She called out Oprah Winfrey. She called out Lee Daniels. She called out a couple of other people. And I have to agree with that. You when you're in this business, and as an actor myself, when you're in this business, there are certain things that people will ask you to do. Now, being that, that's up to the individual. An interesting story Denzel Washington told. Okay, and hopefully one day I'll get to meet him, because it's just like that meeting Denzel would be like me. He's like a father. He'd be like meeting my father. And Denzel said he got the very first, he got offered a role. He got offered a movie role, and they said, well, we're gonna pay him $500,000. And he considered it. So Denzel called Sidney Poitier, and him and Sidney Poitier had a conversation, and he asked Sidney, he told him, this is what it was. Now remember, they had offered this is a true story. This was a movie. This was a movie that they were trying to get made. And Denzel, they offered it to Denzel. I kid you not, true story. Denzel Washington was offered a role in this movie called The Spook That Sat by the Door. I shit you not. The Spook That Sat by the Door. So he called upstairs now, and they offered him $500,000. So he called Sidney Poitier, and they asked him. He said, "Listen, hey man, they offered me a lot of money." And this is when Denzel was just coming into the scene, coming in, and he asked Sidney Poitier about, hey, they offered me this, but what do you think about this? Hey, he said, what's the title? The Spook That Sat by the Door. And he's like, and he offered me a lot of money. And, and Sidney told him, he says, I can't tell you whether not to do this movie. I can't tell you yes. I can't tell you no. You have to decide. But remember this, when you are making a move, whatever movie you make, you have to realize that's how you're going to be perceived. That's how you're going to be perceived. So Denzel, and Denzel being the smart man that he is, the wise man that he is, and and not only that, but listening to basically, listening to Sidney Poitier, who's been in the business, almost forever and a day, and getting that knowledge from him. So Denzel say, he turned it down. He turned it down, and as it happened, he was glad he did turn it down, because he wound up getting offered another role that wind up giving him the Oscar buzz, and he wind up doing a movie called Cry Freedom about an activist named Stephen Biko during apartheid. But my point is this. Everyone makes a decision, makes a choice on whether they're going to do what they're going to do. Monique made a choice not to do the circuit. And the bottom line is that people did not understand who Monique was. She was a girl. Monique is a girl from the hood. She's from Baltimore. She's a girl from the hood. And understand that. Some of you all who understand girls from the hood, they do not take a lot of crap from anybody. They're gonna be real with you. They're gonna be 100% real with you. They're gonna tell you like it is. They're gonna tell you how it is. They're gonna tell you what it is. They're gonna tell you how you like it. They're gonna tell you how she likes it, how she wants it, when she wants it, and how often. That's just a chick from the hood. That's just Monique. But Monique is she's cut to the quick. She's direct, and she's honest. And as she began to tell the story about how she was shut out, and these individuals who, quote unquote, she thought were her friends, were the very ones that were tearing her down behind her back. And that's the unfortunate part about this business and acting. That's the unfortunate part. It really, really is. Or as they say, you're only as good as your last performance. You're only as good as your last performance. But as she went on to go, and I don't want to give too much away. If you haven't seen it, catch it on Netflix. It's very good. It's entertaining, but it's very poignant on some things that she's saying. There was one point in there, she was dead on. She was spot on with this. She made the comment, or she referenced that, okay, Monique is she's 3 times in, meaning she's been married to, she's on her 3rd marriage. Her 3rd. Okay. And as she said, it took that time for her to understand, first of all, and she said this herself, she had to understand her place. And she went on to say that is one of the problems that a lot of Black women have, not knowing their place. Now, this is what, and she laid out some very good points on why she said what she said, and she had to understand that. Her 3rd, right now, her current husband, his name is Sidney. They have what she's saying. They have a beautiful marriage. They have a beautiful relationship. Why? Because she knows her place. She understands what her role is in the relationship, in the marriage. Even though she's making more money than him, than her husband, that's not the basis of their marriage. The basis of their marriage is, as she indicated, knowing her place. Knowing her place. And even to a point, I've said this on different times on different shows about understanding your place, understanding how this works. Monique understood that a marriage, not only does it take work, but a marriage is a business relationship. Marriage is a compromise. Marriage is a understanding. Marriage is, sometimes women get confused about this. Well, you know what, all that's well and good, but, I want someone that's going to, going to love me for me and be honest and truthful and this, that, and the other to me. Listen, baby, a marriage is not always rainbows and lollipops. There's going to be some dirt. There's going to be some dirty laundry that is going to come out at some point or another. That is the flip side. That's the other side. That's the flip side of the same coin. When you get a full understanding that, because understand something, I never known for love, honesty, loyalty, trust, and all that. I don't know any time that pays a bill. Now, if it does, if that's working on your planet, then that's where you need to stay. Because here on planet Earth, it doesn't. What pays the bills is cash, money, understanding, and also too, for those, and I'm talking, and this is for both men and women, for those who do not understand the value of money, that's also, and see, this is something that she kind of hinted to. In a marriage, for people who do not understand the value of money, that can be a deal breaker. That is problematic. To where somebody's out there working and you're spending it as fast as they make it. That's a deal breaker. I don't care what you say. If you have a person that cannot manage money, who cannot organize money, because here's the thing that drives me up the wall. I ain't gonna lie to nobody. This is either men or this is for a guy or a woman. It drives me up the wall to see somebody take money. Okay, you go in the store and they give you your change back or whatever the case may be, and then you shove it into your pocket. You don't even straighten it out. You just shove it into your pocket. Then when you reach into your pocket to get something out, your keys or some other, then all your money, then your pockets explode and the money falls everywhere. Everywhere. Or if you don't understand the value, or you don't understand the value of it to where you're spending wisely. Or you made up in your mind, well, you know what? I'm tired of being broke. I'm not going to pay the lights or the gas or the water. I'm not going to pay my car note. I'm not going to pay my rent because I'm tired of being broke. That's not smart thinking at all. At all. If you have a problem with managing money and you're with somebody who it would behoove you, my gosh, if you are with someone who knows how to manage money, who can quote manage it. And not only that, when you have a person that knows how to manage money, they understand the value of it. They understand it. If you have a problem with doing that, then you need to turn it over to them. And I know that's a hard thing. That's a hard thing for some people to do. But if you look at what you're doing, fellas, if you are bad with money, turn it over to you again. If she's good with it, turn it over to her. Ladies, women, if you are bad with money, you can't manage it, and you constantly broke, or you constantly trying to you fighting the fence, and and the wolves are constantly nipping at your heels. Turn it over to that man if he knows how to manage it. If he's telling you, hey, when you pay your bills, this is what you do. You pay this, and this, or this is what you give them. The first rule of money is pay yourself. The first rule is pay yourself. These are things that, and see, understanding this creates a better environment between the two people. It creates a better environment. If you look up and you were with somebody and you had no issues, you had no problems with your finances because both of you all were working together, and sometimes you had a little, sometimes one would offset the other to where there was never a gap. Your work, that's working. And not only that, but if that person is making sure that you always have and you never have to want for something, what's the problem? There's certain, there's certain trade-offs. Yes, there are. For men and women, you have to look at that. And this is one of the things, and going back to Monique's situation, she understood these particular attributes. Because here's the thing. Monique was never, she went on to say that she never got the education on how to conduct herself as a woman. And a lot of you out there have gone to that school. A lot of you, a lot of men have gone to that school and don't know how to run a household, how to be men. A lot of women have gone to that school on not knowing how to conduct themselves as a woman. Whether it's some form of beautification, some form of dress, some form of how to talk, some level of higher education, something. And as she went on to allude to a couple other things, it was, what am I bringing? Well, I'm getting with this man. What am I bringing to the table? Am I bringing something that's beneficial, or am I bringing a lot of damn baggage? That's something that's something that both parties, men and women, need to think about. Are you bringing something beneficial to the relationship? Or are you bringing baggage? Think about that. And with that being said, I see the lights are flashing in the distance and the helicopter is about to land, which means that's all the time we got here on tonight's show, Black Conservative Podcast, here on iHeart Intellectual Radio. Hey, shout out to my sponsor, Captain Hooks. Hey, get over there, get you some food, get you some chicken, shrimp, fish, delicious sides, and wonderful desserts over there, 85th and King Drive, 103rd, 85th and Cottage Grove, 103rd and King Drive, and 15922 South Kedzie in Markham, Illinois. So with that being said, not my monkey, not my circus.
To the Batmobile. Let's go. Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed. Roger. Ready to move out.